Good morning. It's Richard Solomon on Taking Care of Business, 88.1 FM. You noticed some new music there. Well, that's because we have some in-studio talent today. And let me tell you, we call the best out there. So we're with Rory. Hey, good morning.
How you doing?
And it's great to have you here. And we're going to talk about rock and roll and music and maybe even the resurrection of rock and roll, because it needs a little help out there. You know, I won't be a little gun shy here. Rock and roll and rock music has had some tough days. We've lost 101.9 as an alternative rock station in New York. And even though here at WCWP we do our best, it's actually better. Like a rising tide floats all boats. We don't want to be the only tide. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And why don't you just stick the mic up a little bit higher?
Yep, that would help.
Get you. And I see you have a guitar here, so we're going to make sure that you get to play plenty of live music in the studio, which will be a super treat for our fans. So for those people out there, by the way, get ready. This is going to be a great 1 hour show. It's exclusive to Rory and Rory's music. I guess your genre is good old fashioned rock and roll with some balls.
You can say that.
I think that's an FCC word. I'll check with management.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I read in your bio, because we have a big research department, and the team of research people said that you started listening to rock when you were in the womb. What kind of headphones did they provide, and how was the sound system?
It was a bit muffled. I can tell you that much. But
is that reflected in your music?
Hopefully not.
Wow.
You can tell me. But yeah, I guess whatever I heard from then, I was just having it become part of me even from that time. But
so, what were your influences in the womb?
In the womb, well, you have to ask my parents because they were the ones playing me, whatever. But my dad was always into classic rock and pretty much any rock.
When it was actually called rock.
Yeah, exactly. when it was rock and not just 50 guys on a keyboard and whatever. But if you read in the bio, once I was out of the womb, my dad tells me to this day that one day I came walking into the living room when he had the TV on MTV, when the M actually stood for music then, and they had Nirvana's Heart-Shaped Box, it was, playing on there. And my dad tells me to this day that I was just entranced by it when I walked in and just, so I guess even before I realized what music or rock was, it was just always around me. And I guess I always enjoyed it. It's tough to remember those times. But
well, I'll tell you, having grown up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, that was really just an incredible time for music.
Oh, definitely.
The one thing is that the Rolling Stones are still playing. I know, at least at the time of this
60,000
recording.
60,000 albums later, yeah.
Yeah. What happened to rock?
That's a good question. I think a lot of people these days think that it's just the audience is not as interested in that kind of music anymore. But I don't think that's what it is. I think it's all just the production and people who are putting the music out there. Because I feel like if you played, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, any of the great, oldies, or even if bands that I don't know about, unfortunately, that are around today that probably make that kind of music, it's such a shame that we don't know about them. If you played that kind of music for today's audience, I think they would love it. I just don't think they're hearing it.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely believe that good content gets found. Word of mouth. There's plenty of YouTube podcasting, things like that to get the word out there. But I don't necessarily see the pipeline. I remember, growing up here, at least in the Long Island, New York metro area, you had LIR for sort of like, the more edgy music. You had NEW, which is more of the album rock. You had PLJ, which is more of the sort of the mainstream but current rock. Paul Solomon just arrived. Security, how'd this happen?
No, but also the radio stations help promote things. Like I remember when we were younger, PLJ had like the great album covers of the year, like 1975. I remember they had every single album cover. But now if you went to PLJ today, you would think somebody like a Fleetwood Mac has one song instead of all the years that they have of music. So a person who's first listening to rock music today would think Led Zeppelin has 2 songs, Fleetwood Mac has 1 song, Mamas and the Papas have 1 song, and that's it. So when you've heard that one song 50 times, you're done.
Yeah. Well, if you thought like along those lines, you'd think that the only thing that Leonard Skinner ever did was like Freebird. Yeah. Right. Because that's all they seem to play. Like you never hear like down south jukin' or working for the MCA or
Swamp music.
yeah, just all that stuff,
Or they just play the cover version of something, like, for example, the Janis Joplin song that was remade by, they Promised You Paradise, but turned it into a parking lot. They only
Joni Mitchell, I thought.
Oh, Joni Mitchell. But they only play the new version, the guy who covered her song, who has nothing other than that one song. So you would not think Joni Mitchell has anything.
Right. And it's a shame because there are still talented people out there. The problem is, I'm not sure that, I think part of the problem, I'll challenge you with this, and I think part of the problem is that the audience out there has a low attention span. People are just, their heads are buried in cell phones and iPads and whatever, and they're not really paying attention, because I think in pre-production you were saying that music has really not become more of a background thing than a foreground thing. Because I remember, and I guess maybe your dad can remember. You went to Corvettes, and right, wow, yeah, right. I went to the one in Douglaston, right,
Okay.
and
Avenue.
What's that?
Casino,
yeah, and you would get the quote new album, whatever it was, either $2.99 or $3.99, and then you'd put it on a turntable. And then you'd watch it like it was going to do something, and even though it didn't do anything, you would just watch it, and that was like the whole thing. Where now,
wait a minute, you're forgetting. You would carefully wrap off the plastic. There was a whole ceremony
That's
involved,
right.
and you wanted to make sure that it didn't have any skips before you put
Or
it
it was
on.
warped, yeah.
And you read the cover art, and you read every word. There was also like a poster. So it wasn't just that it was $2.99. It was an experience. Like I remember, I more got classical records from the Record Hunter, but it was still the same concept. I got that record. I looked at the cover art. I liked the way that new vinyl smelled. I put it gently on the turntable, and then you would polish it off. You'd check the needle. You'd put your disc washer on to make sure you got the lint out in your first coat. So whereas you download a 99-cent song, it's not the same.
So how do you try to recapture that essence in a single song world as opposed to an album world?
Well, first, I just want to say there's definitely a lot of validity to the fact that people's attention, there's a lot more going on that people can have just at their fingertips these days. But I don't think that's the problem. I think you look in any generation and you'll find people who may not have that kind of attention span. But what's missing is the music that grabs their attention and takes them, their minds off of whatever they're doing them and makes them, pay attention to that kind of music. Because the whole concept of that, how a lot of the music these days sounds like it's background music. It doesn't ask them to have any attention. It's easy listening in the sense that it doesn't require any sense of involvement to understand what it's about. So, sorry, what was actually your question about how to do that? You said.
Well, could you give us a good example of something that you've created that's grabby?
I can just tell you this: I never really write a song and try and actually have that in my mind. I'm going to make this song so it gets people's attention. I always just try and write from my heart and my soul and write to get my own feelings out on the guitar. That's what I try and do. And I think that that's something that people can understand universally. I think when people hear someone pouring their feelings into a song, they can, relate to that instead of just relating to the idea of calling somebody maybe.
Touche. Actually, one of the more interesting songs I thought about feeling of the more recent songs was Gaudier's Someone That I Used to Know, because you really feel sort of the anger in the song.
You don't have to kill me.
Exactly. Yeah. The man is definitely upset.
Yeah.
And you feel it. Mm. So why don't you play something for us?
All right. Well, how many songs do you think I should even get into in this hour?
Well, we got an hour, so let's start with one and just keep going, and
all right.
it'll flow.
All right. Well,
and the good thing about this is we don't have corporate people saying it's got to be 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Because I got a lot for you. I don't want to miss out on the best things.
Just let's. This is one of those free flowing shows.
Cool. All right. Well, this.
In fact, the audience never knows what we're going to come up with, which keeps them on edge, which is kind of nice.
Give Rory's website. So
we'll give you the play a song, and then we'll get you on the web and your Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff.
All right. Well, this song is, I guess you could call it my old single. It's a song that I've written over a course of years, and it's sort of just like your typical high school love song, about that kind of thing. Anyway, this song, this is called Drowning in Air. Holding on just to see you, another good thing gone bad. I'm breaking down to the same love story, same thing still makes me sad. What I did just to meet you, hard work gone to waste. No matter what, I will keep on trying, if only to see your face. Another shooting star falls down, hits me on the head. If I could choose not to fall, I'd fly instead. 'Cause here I am drowning in a pool of you. So clean my wings and dry my feathers down into the blue. I'm just a fool with a heartache. How could they relate? I'm putting in, getting nothing out, never even been on a date. The stars, they shine like your smile, but just as far away. I'm praying up to the angels, please give me my wings today. Another shooting star falls down, hits me on the head. If I could choose not to fall, I'd fly instead. 'Cause here I am drowning in a pool of you. So clean my wings and dry my feathers now into the blue. While others breathe what I'm fed. For all you care, I'd be dead, no. Why can't you understand why I feel this way? Yeah. 'Cause you have it, 'cause you have it, 'cause you have it, 'cause you have it. Yeah, you have it, yeah, you have it. Yeah, you have it, yeah, you have it. Another shooting star falls down and hits me on the head. If I could choose not to fall, I'd fly instead. 'Cause here I am drowning in a pool of you. Clean my wings and dry my feathers now into the blue. Another shooting star falls down and hits me on the head. If I could choose not to fall, I'd fly instead. 'Cause here I am drowning in a pool of you. Clean my wings and dry my feathers now into the blue. Down into the blue. Down into the blue. Thanks.
I think that was Pete Townsend just coming by with a baton to hand it to you. Because oh, by the way, this is Rich Solomon rocking you guys at TCBRadio.com, WCWP.org, here on Taking Care of Business, broadcast on WCWP. So there we have for the station ID. And if you've missed that, there's plenty more. But we're here with Rory in our studio, who's got to give us all of his rock and roll information. So what's your Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, all that stuff?
Well, my name is Rory Cosgrove, and if you know that, you pretty much got everything else, because it's Facebook.com/Rory Cosgrove Music, because the other Rory Cosgrove is my personal Facebook. But, and Twitter @Rory Cosgrove. I have a Reverb Nation profile, YouTube. All of it is just my name, written, one word, no space, Rory Cosgrove.
Just so I want to make sure people have the spelling. Could you just spell it?
Yes, that's a good point. It's Rory, Rory, and my last name is Cosgrove, Cosgrove.
All right, cool. Well, it's such an intimate place that we just call you Rory here.
Okay.
Because this is like the last homestead of rock and roll, because Scott Muni and all those people are gone, and Allison Steele. So I guess it's just me. I'm like the last man standing on radio to try to find, these kinds of things. Remember, this is how Bruce Springsteen started out at the bottom line. And I did an interview, and you should check this out in our archives. We did My Father's Place, and we had Steve Rosenfield on for 2 hours, who was the house photographer. And he was talking about in the 1970s how Bruce Springsteen was the opening act in Roslyn, New York for the Paul Winter Consort. Talk about a mixed match sandwich. So that was a phenomenal song.
Thank you. It's actually the first time I think I've played it in front of anyone outside of my family.
So we're your family, so we're your rock and roll family. That was just a great song.
Thank you very
much. Full
of
passion and great content and good music, and that stuff kind of needs to boil to the surface and be out there, because I can't listen to Back on the Chain Gang anymore. It's like every day I hear the same 37 songs, whether I'm in an elevator or I'm just passing an office or whatever. And I mean, the songs were great for their day, but at some point it's sort of like, how many, it's like if I eat 100 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in a row, at some point it's like, all right, I'll take a pizza. Something.
Exactly.
Just something different, So where does some of the newer inspirations come as you get older? I'm sure you had certain influences when you were younger, and as your life happens and you're in relationships and you have experiences, I'm sure that hits you, and I'm sure your music evolves somewhat.
Yeah.
What's been sort of giving you the push like lately, and and how is that different from what maybe a few years ago?
Well, the push, I can say, the only way that it's changed is it's just become more defined is that music is what I want to do in my life, and that I can't see myself doing anything different. A guitarist that I'm a big fan of actually once said in a quote something along the lines of, if you want to play music for a living, give up right now. If you need to play music for a living, it can be a really great thing. And that's certainly the latter is the way I feel. I can't see myself doing anything different with it. As far as influences musically go, though, lately, because, I have the acoustic guitar for you guys here, but on my recordings, I play electric guitar, and, every song's got to have a wailing guitar solo and all that stuff. I really believe in that kind of stuff. So lately, I've been more being inspired by a lot of these virtuoso guitar players that I'm into. A lot of names that probably not too many people would know, so it's not even worth mentioning.
Why not? But that's.
Oh, that's right. You know what?
But this is the forum to get that out.
All right, well,
yes. We're not the dustbin of history here. That's other people's jobs.
Well, I'm generally into a lot of fusion guitar players. Fusion, in the sense of virtuoso guitar players, tends to be that they use elements of like crazy heavy metal playing, but they mix it with blues and jazz. So you can get extreme kinds of really difficult and technical playing that still has tons of feeling and emotion to it. My favorite player is a guy named Kiko Loureiro, who is a guitar player from Brazil, as the name suggests. And I'm also a huge fan of a guy named Guthrie Govan, who is a Brit. And both of these guys, along with many others, such as Richie Kotzen, is another great one. These are the guys who still are around today making great music in the genre that we've been talking about, but you don't hear anything about them, kind of because they're old souls and they've been around. Richie Kotzen actually was in Poison briefly when C.C. DeVille was having some trouble with I don't know what, but
The law.
among other things, yeah.
Well, one of the great things about being like a rock and roll, radio guy is that we're also lawyers. So we, there's it's a fertile field for business.
You ever deal with any rock stars?
If we did, we couldn't say.
Okay.
Because that's the part of the client privilege is that we don't talk.
Well, we can mention that one of our performers was more amazed by my 8-track collection because he never saw one.
In fact, we gave him an 8-track because it was like this is like the great grandfather of the CD and the great grandfather of the MP3 download.
Yeah.
Terrible format.
So when you write now, do you write more on an album level or is it more like on a song level? Because one of the things that I see that's different about today is that people just kind of write songs.
Singles. Yeah.
Right. And because of the pressure to do so, ever since they sort of unbundled albums, and it's sort of like, well, you can just buy one song for 79.99 cents, depending on the platform. People do that because they just kind of pick off the one song. That doesn't really get people to really get to know an artist intimately. And I know that, at least in my experience, sometimes it would take a while to cruise an album because there was like the 3 or 4 songs you overplayed to death.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you'd play the whole thing through, and then maybe some of the more neglected elements were like, I didn't really think about that until now, and all of a sudden it became like a new fave or became heavily rotated. So when you write, are you writing on a more macro level? Is it more of a micro level? Both or just spurts?
Definitely both or just whatever comes to mind. I mean, last year I got into the studio and I recorded what's sort of a cross between a demo and an album, which is my album called No Backup Plan, which is actually available on iTunes right now.
Isn't that the Lipa story? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, for all those Hurricane Sandy people.
Ooh,
boo, yeah, but they deserve it.
Yeah, my second album's called Con Ed. All right.
So sorry about No Backup Plan, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is available on iTunes, and you can stream some of the tracks. I have some of them on YouTube. As a matter of fact, that track, Drowning in Air, which I just played, is in its full electric version on there and whatnot. But, I did that, and that was definitely a learning experience. Now I'm just focused on, playing whatever, wherever to try and get the exposure. I think, first of all, I have a lot of songs in different styles, especially since I had the acoustic for you today. I know we keep talking about rock and roll, but I have some stuff that, although it still has that same soul to it and that same bluesiness to it, might have, hints of other styles in it too, because they're not, I don't have a Marshall stack here and everything.
Well, look, the Rolling Stones, I guess, are the classic rock and roll band, but they certainly have all kinds of songs, you could even accuse them of having a little disco in some things and a little blues and heavy blues in others and, things like that.
Or even a band like Pink Martini, which sings in 12 languages and has covers.
Paul loves Pink
I love
Martini.
Pink Martini, but they sing in 12 languages. They do jazz, blues, disco. They do everything.
So what is like your current favorite song of yours right now? What's like, if you were an iPod, what would you pick on autoplay as like one of your...
That's always a tough question. I'd say that what I'm most into right now is actually that Brazilian guitar player Kiko Loureiro, who I mentioned. He's in a Brazilian band called Angra, and I'm a huge fan of them right now. And you're talking about my songs?
I'm talking about you.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were talking about what I listen to. My own song is my favorite.
What's like if what song is exploding out of your fingers right now that comes right to the surface that you want to play for us?
Oh, so you want me to play it?
Oh yeah.
I should be paying more attention. just talk about it.
It's just a relaxed, happy show.
Okay.
It just flies by. Everybody's very comfortable.
Well, I have your answer for that, definitely. The song that I'm probably most proud of lately is the song that I'll play for you. And this song is sort of a parody of, but at the same time, well, it's a parody of the modern music that we've been wailing on the whole night and talking about how all the lyrics are so, self-centered and can't really think of the right word, but
Fluffy.
Yeah,
I guess play it maybe.
exactly. So, and at the simultaneously, it's about my own dreams for the industry and what I want to do. So this song is called Big. Late nights and never early mornings. The next party will come without a warning. I don't know who's lying next to me, but I bet she knows who I am. Bright lights, the city winking at me. The show's soon, but I don't need to worry. You know the stage can't wait for me. Yeah. You know I want it, you know I need it. Baby, I got just one dream, to get on that stage and play you a song and watch you sing along. I wanna be big, I want a big hit, I wanna be everything and everyone to know it. I want a fast car, I want a big house and all the girls to know I'm a star. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, 'cause here I come, so get the spotlight ready. I wanna be big, I wanna be a household name on top of the world. I can't help, it's just the way I am. I wanna be big. Yeah, yeah. I wanna be big. I'm hanging out with all the A-lists, pop movie stars and all the facelifts, and they all wish that they were me. Don't you see? You know I want it, you know I need it. Baby, I got just one dream, to get on that stage and play you a song and watch you sing along. I wanna be big, I want a big hit, I wanna be everything and everyone to know it. I want a fast car, I want a big house and all the girls to know I'm a star. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, 'cause here I come, so get the spotlight ready. I wanna be big, I wanna be a household name on top of the world. I can't help, it's just the way I am. I wanna be big, I want to be big, yeah, yeah. I wanna be big, I wanna be big, yeah, yeah. You know I want it, you know I need it. Baby, I got just one dream, to get on that stage and play you a song and watch you sing along. I wanna be big, I want a big hit, I wanna be everything and everyone to know it. I want a fast car, I want a big house and all the girls to know I'm a star. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, 'cause here I come, so get the spotlight ready. I wanna be big, I wanna be big, I wanna be big. I wanna be big, I wanna be everything and everyone to know it. I want a fast car, I want a big house and all the girls to know I'm a star. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, 'cause here I come, so get that spotlight ready. I wanna be big, I wanna be a household name on top of the world. I can't help, it's just the way I am. 'Cause I am doing everything I can. I wanna be big.
Woo!
Bravo.
I'm gonna call all the people that do the money shows and stuff like that, like Kramer. Maybe they can do this as like their thing when they do the market reports.
Nice.
That was very cool.
Thank you.
You play with tremendous emotion, and you have just a great sound. You have a great vocal sound. You got just great acoustical sound. So
Thank you very much.
so for people out there who are listening, this is Rory. We're so informed. This is Rory Cosgrove, and you want to definitely check him out. He's got tremendous music out there. He will be big one day. And then he will hopefully remember his beginnings here at TCBRadio.com. And when he brings the flash mob and the entourage, I have my walker and my my fake teeth. He'll say he was a good man. And you'll invite me to the roast.
And I'll bring an 8-track.
So, by the way, we actually do have 8-tracks and vinyl records and the whole bit. Yeah.
Vinyl's coming back.
Yeah, that. In fact, vinyl's coming back with USB ports on the turntables. That's the thing. Oh, wait, you're listening to WCWP 88.1 FM in Brookville, New York. The show is Taking Care of Business. Your host is Richard Solomon, co-hosted by Paul Solomon. We have in studio today a special live acoustic performance by a rising superstar. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and this is under oath, so it's all true. So, and it's Rory Cosgrove, and we just call him Rory because he's like family to us. He's got great music. You need to check him out. There is a lull in the music world right now of great stuff out there. It's out there, and it's hard to find because there are some really great people out there, and there's some great bands, and there's some great musicians. I represent the Music Building in New York, and I see some of them rehearsing, and musicbuilding.com, just give them a quick plug. And, it's just tremendous what you see. But the problem is that we're in our cars, and whatever seems to come out of sort of, corporate-sponsored radio, which is concentrated in the hands of the few, they tend to have their very tight playlists. It's very safe. It's very conservative. They go with the things that people just know and like. And I think there's a tremendous hunger out there that still needs to be fed of people like yourself who've got fresh ideas, fresh music, fresh songs, things that will stick into your head, and things are snappy and grabby because it is out there and it needs to see the light of day. So I appreciate you being here and taking time from your busy schedule.
Thanks.
I see you brought some people. Is that the spin club management or security?
all of the above.
Anyway, just wanted, as long as we were talking about vinyl, I wanted everyone to go back into our archives, look at the Bronx Wanderers show where they mentioned that they produced a vinyl CD.
Yes, they produced a CD made out of vinyl with grooves. That was the Bronx Wanderers, BronxWanderers.com. We had an interview with Yo Vinny, and that was a great show, and he was just funny as all heck. And just a great time. Really nice. And a shout out to Joanne, who actually made that happen. She was the one who introduced all that. The Bronx Wanderers?
No, but I think I've heard you mention them.
Oh yeah, it's really, really good. Anyway, so let's go back to the music and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Where, if you were to be able to jump in a session somewhere, not mentioning some of the people you already mentioned already, who would you jump into that was like on tour now, for example, that you just love to get like the little tap on the shoulder and say, oh yeah, I could join you in Brooklyn, or or the Garden, I'll be there as soon as I get on the railroad.
That's an interesting question because as far as people around today, it's not that easy to answer, unfortunately. But as far as the music that's around right now, the one who stands out to me, even though I don't really listen to her as much as I should, maybe, is Adele. I think most people can say that. And I was talking before about how I think that audiences these days of music would enjoy, the kind of music that has real soul and real feeling to it if they heard it. That's a perfect example. Look, last Grammys, who won pretty much everything? Adele, because people love Adele, and Adele is, to me, like the one big person in the whole pop scene these days that's still putting so much into the music. And you hear like the music itself is simple music, but what she does to it, she's really feeling what she's saying. And I think that's why people love her, because when they listen to Adele, it's not just music going on in the background to dance to or whatever. They can listen to it and say, oh, and really get into it. So I guess Adele would be my answer for that. That'd certainly be cool.
Technology is both a great thing and a not so great thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, what technology does for all of us is it allows us to podcast. It gives us distribution. Sometimes it makes things too easy because now everybody can be an author and everybody can be a musician. You know, Rich Solomon on tambourine. In fact, the Rich Solomon tambourine sessions can be downloaded on YouTube. You know, no,
Get some nice solo.
you know, but you could dream. You know, but there's a lot of people out there who actually do that
Nice
stuff.
tambourine solos you get in there.
From the time that you started until today, how has technology, from a musician's point of view, made it better or worse or both for you? Has it made things easier? Has it made things less challenging? It reminds me of a quote by the Beatles where they were talking about how they always strive to find new sounds. And then as time went on, it became too easy, and then it just. So, is there something like that in there, either from an equipment point of view, or?
Well, from the point of view of equipment, like as far as what to plug your guitar through or whatnot, I actually think it's had a negative effect because up until recently, I was playing through a guitar amplifier that was completely digital, and I got very used to that kind of sound. And until recently, when I got a good old-fashioned tube amp, did I realize that there's a much more natural sounding tone that you can get out there. But even in that, as far as equipment goes, that was the only real technological thing in equipment that I discovered. Because I mean, even nowadays, people still use all analog pedals and everything, and the electric guitar. Granted, there's always, the robot guitar and this guitar, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, the electric guitar is the same instrument it's been since like the 50s. And you look at like a Les Paul standard. How much has that really changed? If you pick up a Les Paul guitar from whenever the first one was made and you play the one today, it's not going to be that much different. As far as the industry goes, though, that's where technology, I think, makes a huge difference as far as marketing, and the internet is obviously the big thing. It's hard for me to say how it's changed the industry because as long as I've been playing music, that technology has been around me. But I definitely think in the negative sense, like you said, everyone can be exposed, and it's so hard to find a hidden gem because everybody's on YouTube, everybody's got their music out there, and everybody's trying to do the same thing. So you really have to be something special or just get extremely lucky if you want yourself to be heard with that.
Alas, the Rich Solomon spoon sessions just never made it. Despite all my, these are just jokes. These are, just in the kitchen, just playing with the spoons. The acoustic spoon.
The plastic spoon.
It was on Soundgarden. Soundgarden got Spoon Man out there. The song. They use a real guy playing the spoons on that song.
Well, we learned that from my friends in Tennessee. Would you say, when you write, do you write some things that are different for when you do sort of like just one-on-one acoustic things like you're doing here, as opposed to, like, say, being in a band or for a band?
I'd say definitely, yeah, because when I write a song, whether it's acoustic or not, if I write a song, generally I'll have in mind whether it's going to be for me, or I actually am in a new band right now. It's called Vinyl Horizon. We have a couple things, not too much to promote yet, but we have a couple.
Oh, but this is where it starts. So if I had the crystal ball, since the government doesn't have a good one, let's just pull ours out. What's going on with the Vinyl Horizon?
Well, that's the thing. Not much right now. We're still we may have a show soon, but I don't know the details of it yet. We're not even we don't have our stuff recorded. We're very early in development, so perhaps I shouldn't have even brought it up.
No, because when this tape gets sold on eBay, 35 years from now, this is like Mother McCree's Uptown Jug Champions before they became the Grateful Dead.
But if I ever come on here again, I'm sure there'll be plenty to tell you about that. But just as far as answering the question about how the different writing process goes for being in a band or being on your own, when I write to write in the band, I'm trying to think of something that is more, first of all, in the style of the music that we play, which actually is sort of in that, like, the hard rock and with a little hint of alternative. But when I write on my own, it's funny because when I started off writing songs when I was about maybe 14 years old, I'm 20 now, I never knew what a song was going to be about. I actually wrote songs before I even played the guitar. And so I would just sometimes sing something and be like, oh, this seems cool. And then it would get to the point where I would play the guitar, write the song, and I would have all these interesting lyrics in front of me that I'd written, and I had no idea what they were about. And then I would have to, because I would just write whatever words sounded interesting to me. But now when I write songs, it's completely different, because now, I've been writing long enough that I know what I want to write a song about, and I pick up the guitar and say, okay, this song is about this girl, blah, blah, blah. How does she make me feel? I'm going to write like this, have a song that feels like that. And I'm always factoring in, because at the same time as I write, chords and whatnot for my songs, I'm factoring in how I'm going to sing it and everything. And songwriting, whether in either example, though, is always just about getting out what I have inside of me. And, I feel this way, so how does the way I feel sound, So, yeah.
Have you done any collaborative songwriting? It's okay if you say no.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm being honest if I say it. I mean, being in the band, that would be the example. In this band, we're working on stuff together. But mostly, I've been mostly a solo artist. I have friends that I've jammed with, but as far as writing with, just never seemed to work out. Not that we tried, but that's another big thing, the whole band versus solo thing. That's another thing I feel today. Anyone who even is trying to make rock music today, they're always in a band. You never ever, except for maybe like John Mayer, see a guy or a girl who's playing rock music and it's just them, It's always a band these days. But however, you look at the charts, or whatever they're called, you look at the music that's selling and it's huge these days that you hear on the radio. It's always a solo artist. Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift. There's very rarely a band. They're a dime a dozen. So I think that's something maybe unique about me, that I'm playing this kind of music, but I'm also a solo artist. So you might fit me in with those kind of artists, but at the same time, I'm making the music that you hear mostly from bands.
Have you studied some of the songwriting processes of other people? Like, I remember reading a really interesting article, I can't remember what it was, about the B-52s, and I think it was the B-52s, about how they would write songs. And they would like go to this room and they would start writing and like on the ceiling. And they would just all the way down to the floor. And then they would kind of just have this whole, I guess, purging of ideas. It would just come out. It would all just come out. And then they would try to like boil it all down, and after like 3 or 4 days, it'd be like, all right, we got our stuff. And then it was really interesting to see how some people do it, whereas other people write the words and wrap the music around it. Other people have great, guitar riffs, and they're looking for something to bond it to.
Yeah.
How does that work for you? And do the lyrics come first? Does the music come first? Sometimes they come together? It's
been both ways. I'd say definitely earlier in my days, especially before I played guitar, it was always the lyrics first. But even after I played the guitar, I would have a vocal melody of some kind, that I would sing, and then I would just find, okay, what chords go under this? Like even the first song that I played you, Drowning in Air, da 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 da. I would have that melody, and then I would say, okay, let's see, if I play the guitar, what chords can I play that I can sing that same melody, and they'll go perfectly over with. And often by the time that I would have a melody, I would have lyrics to it, but sometimes you'll just have a riff or a chord progression or something that you play, and then you do the reverse, and you say, okay, what melody would go over this, that I have already. But if I'm writing a song, as long as I don't plan something to be an instrumental, I always sort of have the idea of, if it's already a melody for the vocals, I have an idea for what the guitar is going to be doing in mind, or vice versa.
Yeah. Do you like? And this is a serious question. Mm-hmm. I mean this. All my questions are serious for the most part, but like, do you have a tape recorder or something nearby? Because like you wake up in the middle of the night, you got a great idea. Because I've had great ideas like for either books or articles or things like that, and I go, oh good, I'll remember that in the morning, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what was that thing? It was great, and it just disappeared. So I you have to sleep. Or always have access to either pen and paper or a little digital recorder or something. Do you?
Oh, yeah, most certainly. I mean, in the past, it was when I had my crappier cell phone, it was always the voice thing on that. And then there was always a pad and a pencil somewhere that I could write down lyrics. Now I have an iPhone, so everyone knows the voice memos app. It actually takes good sound for that kind of thing. So I always have that anytime I want to record something. And then I use the notes part of the iPhone to write down lyrics. And I hate the idea, like you described, of losing things. So I I email them to myself so I can put them in the save folder.
The cloud.
So I have everything backed up, and that's a huge thing. So whenever I have an idea, I like, even if it's something that I know, like, I'm probably not going to use this, but you know what, just in case. And some things like that have become songs that I'm quite fond of.
Oh yeah, and there are many famous musicians who've had things in the vault, and then years later they dusted it out and revved it all up. We're going to do a quick station ID, and then I'd like you to think about the next song you're going to play for us while I do that. You are listening to Taking Care of Business on WCWP 88.1 FM, broadcasting from the Abrams Communications Center in Brookville, New York, right on Northern Boulevard. We love having you here on our show. Thank you for being part of our radio family. Our email address is tcbradioWCWP@yahoo.com. Our particular show page is tcbradio.com. And you can check out the station and all of their programming at wcwp.org. And if you go into the archives there's some podcasts as well. We also have some of our rock and roll related interviews with people like Jeff Mattson, the people from My Father's Place, and Cousin Brucey, and a lot of other people. You can find that at tcbradiorocks.podbean.com. If you need to get in touch with us, always call the station. They're always happy to direct your calls to us. We get between mail, fax, Facebook. You can get us, and we're always happy to hear from you guys. And some of the people in our audience have suggested guests or have been guests, and it's just a great little relationship between us and you guys out there. So thank you for being a part of that and listening. So now we're back with Rory, and what are you going to play for us now?
I'm going to play you a song that is called Sunflower. And this is, as you see, you
switched guitars on us when we weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I switched to a nylon string guitar because it's got more of that tone to it. This is, I suppose, your typical summer love song. It's very laid back, and yeah.
Or there's gunshots? No.
Yeah, none of that in this one.
No, okay.
no Eddie Van Halen eruption going in the middle of it. Yeah, so this is called Sunflower. I sit in the breeze and I see your face, fighting for your embrace. It's taken me years of being misplaced, but now I see your light in the hills. I watch you grow. It gives me chills to see your glow. Now I know, to live in the sun, life has just begun. We never ever fall. In this light we grow tall. We grow tall. For years and years I've tried, searching for what I can't find, but every tear seeps deep in the ground and sprouts the light I found. In the day she feeds the bees, flowing calm with gentle ease. Won't you please, won't you please? We live in the sun, life has just begun. We never ever fall. In this light we grow tall. We grow tall.
NPR has nothing on us. Hey, Rich Solomon, TCBRadio.com, 88.1 FM, WCWP.org. Wow. Okay, if you're catching us, you're catching the last pieces of a 1-hour rock and roll radio show with Rory Cosgrove, who we just call Rory because we're all good friends here. And he's just playing some just incredible tunes. I'm going to ask everybody here present one fast question, and then I want to hear another song because I want to squeeze in at least one more.
Yeah.
When you were, was there one song that you remember, or just one or two, that when you heard the song, whether it was live or whatever, it kind of blew you away? What was that song? I'm going to ask everybody around here what that was because I have in my mind the answer.
Well, there's a lot of songs that have done that, but I find usually when I hear a song for the first time that it takes me more listens to get into it. But one song I remember just loving the instant I heard it was Cult of Personality by Living Colour. The second I heard that riff, I was like, okay, this is not meant for the acoustic, but
And by the way, Brother Mustard, I think, opened for them. So that's,
okay.
So shout out to Timmy Rockmore. Wow. Lance, well, you're not mic'd up, but I'll repeat it for you.
I'll yell. To be honest with you, it was the Led. I think I mentioned this to you last time we spoke. When we saw Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
74.
74.
They played. I believe it was Trampled Underfoot.
Trampled Under.
It was the first time I had ever heard anything. It was a departure from the previous 4 albums, and it was like damn, this is good. 4
Wow.
5 albums.
Paul Solomon.
For me, it's 2 songs. One, Tusk by Fleetwood Mac. When I heard the marching band, that blew me away. And when I read his autobiography, which explained the story of the marching band, which was he had a riff. Buckingham had a melody that they couldn't fit in anywhere. And then one morning, when Mick Fleetwood was hung over and the USC Trojans blasted him out of bed with it, he said Tusk, which meant bitch in English, and then he realized, oh my God, a marching band, and that's what came up. And he had a fight with his wife the night before, who told him, why don't you tell me what's going on? He put the 3 things together to make a song.
Really?
So that blew me away, how he took a tragedy that his wife was asking him, and if you listen to the lyrics, why don't you tell me what's going on? Why don't you tell me who's on the phone? Don't say that you love me. So that's the phone he hung up on, and then he woke up to a blast of a sousaphone from the marching band. And the other song would be a more modern song of Pink Martini's Can't Stop Falling in Love, which it just blew me away. I can't describe the song.
Yeah, I guess for me, the one song that kind of blew me away from the beginning was Hart playing Led Zeppelin's The Battle of Evermore, because I actually think they did it better than the way Led Zeppelin did it, because it was just more natural to hear feminine voices.
Yeah, well, you have one anyway on the original Battle of Evermore.
Right,
yeah.
right, exactly. But just for some reason, and their harmony and just the way they did it, and they moan better than Robert Plant, Oh yeah, so just getting carried away. And I guess speaking of like covers, I still think that Jimi Hendrix is All Along the Watchtower. Just takes Dylan's version and just brings it to a whole
Most
new.
people just think it's a Hendrix song because
because he owns it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he owns it. So we only have 7 minutes left, which is sad in the world of radio. Play something else for us because we need to squeeze in at least one more song.
Perfect, and it's actually the longest one. It'll fit perfectly into that time slot. But I got to play this one. Yeah. So this is it's another. A lot of my songs are sort of love songs, or inspired by some experiences in my life. This song is about sympathy and love. It's called Sympathy and Love. Another note on your desk. When will you return my calls? You said I'm barking up the wrong tree. When will I be right at all? I keep on craving what I can't have, no matter how far the fall. The pieces rain down from the heavens, please wash away it all. Heart that fell to pieces, falling through the creases. I don't care what you've seen before. Angel with your wings clipped, let me take you higher than your warmest sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Your sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Your sympathy and love. I know you're happy solo, but every flower needs its warmth. 'Cause I am so lost, so erratic, never been this way before. Take me, take all of me and throw me on the floor. Let me see what you hide inside. Give me everything and so much more. Oh, daughter of Mother Nature, my dying soul you nurture. I know we could have it all. Flower trembles sternly, let me bring the water cooler than your sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Your sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Your sympathy and love. Bleeding heart in your hands. When will I get it back? It beats the rhythm of my passion, but now a heart attack. Woman, holder of my loving, I'd do anything for you. Vixen, haunt me in my nightmares as the sunlight. My love is true, yeah. Creature, child of beauty, know it is your duty to the earth to love us all. White dove on your deathbed, a gentle kiss on your head, dilate or taste your sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Your sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Sympathy and love. Your sympathy and love.
That was the fastest hour of rock and roll ever made on radio. All right. We have 40 seconds left. That was right to the wall. Thank you for being a part of our show. Thank you.
For giving me the chance.
All right. No, you got to come back, early and often. This is TCBRadio.com. Taking care of business. Rich Solomon, Paul Solomon, Rory Cosgrove. You got to check him out. He is phenomenal. And you'll be hearing great things from him here and out there. So we'll see you all in a week. Thank you for listening. Thanks for rocking with us. And we'll see you in a week, and be safe out there. Thanks.